If you're one of the millions of people who deal with allergies, you've definitely heard of Nasonex. But what you probably don't know is that how you buy it, and more importantly, what you pay for it, has totally been turned on its head. So in this explainer, we are going to break down everything you need to know to get it today.
I mean, think about this. Just a few years back, getting your hands on Nasonex meant a doctor's visit, a prescription, and a bill that could easily top $200. Yeah, it worked wonders, but for a lot of people, that price was just a massive roadblock.
But that is all in the past. Today, you can walk into a store and find that exact same full-strength medication right on the shelf for as little as 13, maybe 14 bucks. That incredible price drop has been a total game changer, making real allergy relief accessible to so many more people. So you're probably asking, how did this even happen? And what do I really need to know? Well, here's our roadmap. We're going to cover the big switch to over-the-counter, weigh the pros and cons of buying online versus in-store, share some really smart ways to save even more money, check out your other options, and most importantly, talk about how to use it safely. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the big switch. This one event is the single reason Nasonex went from being a super pricey prescription to a go-to staple for allergy sufferers everywhere. So the magic moment happened back in March of 2022. The FDA gave Nasonex what's called an OTC switch. Basically, they decided that the full prescription strength of the drug was safe enough for people like you and me to use without needing a doctor to sign off on it. That decision, right there, is what opened the floodgates, causing that huge price drop and putting it on shelves everywhere.
Okay, so now that you can grab it pretty much anywhere, the big question is, where should you buy it? Let's dive into the pros and cons of buying online versus heading into a physical store.
This chart here really breaks it all down. You can see that shopping online is all about convenience, right? You can order from your couch, which is awesome for planning ahead. But buying in-store gives you that immediate access. Plus, you can actually talk to a pharmacist. Really, the best choice just depends on what you need in that moment.
If you're an online shopper, you've got tons of options. You can find Nasonex at all the big players like Amazon, Target, and Walmart, or on pharmacy sites like CVS.com. The huge win here is just how easy it is. It's perfect for stocking up in bulk before allergy season really kicks into high gear.
But what happens when your allergies just sneak up on you out of nowhere? That's when buying in-store is your best friend. Popping into a CVS, Walgreens, or Target means you get that relief right away. No waiting. Plus, you have the huge advantage of being able to ask a real live pharmacist any questions you might have.
All right, we already know it's way cheaper now, but you know what? There are still some clever ways to be strategic about it and snag the absolute best price on your allergy relief. Here are 3 really smart tips. First, use those store loyalty programs. Always check the apps for places like CVS or Target Circle for digital coupons. Second, if you have an FSA or HSA account through your work, use it. Paying with those pre-tax dollars is like getting an automatic discount. And third, think like a squirrel. Stock up in the off-season, like fall or winter, when demand and prices are often lower.
And when you really break it down, the savings are just staggering. A daily dose for an adult can now cost around 50 cents. Compare that to the more than $6.70 a day it could cost back when it was a prescription. That's a huge deal. So now you know how to get Nasonex for a great price. But let's take a minute to talk about your other options. It's always a good idea to see how it stacks up against some of the other common allergy treatments out there. First off, it's really important to know that a prescription version of Nasonex's active ingredient still exists. The over-the-counter one we've been talking about is for your typical allergy symptoms, and insurance won't cover it. But the prescription form is used for other things, like nasal polyps, which are just these little non-cancerous growths, and your insurance plan might cover that one.
Now, what about Flonase? That's another big name you've probably heard of. They're both really effective nasal sprays, but there's one key difference you should know. Flonase is also approved to help relieve those itchy, watery eyes that can drive you crazy. So if that's a major symptom for you, Flonase might be worth a look.
And then there's Nasacort. It's another corticosteroid spray, and honestly, it's very similar to Nasonex. When it comes to these two, the choice often just boils down to your own personal preference. Some people simply find that one works a little bit better for their body than the other.
All right, we're heading into the home stretch. Let's cover what is probably the most important topic of all: how to use Nasonex safely and effectively so you actually get the best results.
You know, proper technique is literally everything. First, you've got to prime the pump if it's a new bottle or if you haven't used it in a while. Then, gently blow your nose to clear things out. Now, here's the pro tip. Aim the nozzle away from the center of your nose, that wall in the middle called the septum. This one little trick really helps prevent irritation and nosebleeds. Then, just give a gentle sniff as you spray.
And look, like any medication, there can be side effects. The good news is that most are pretty mild, like a headache or a sore throat. The one people worry about most is nosebleeds. But like we just talked about, using that correct spray technique can make a huge difference in reducing that risk.
And this is a really important heads up, directly from the FDA. They recommend that if you're using Nasonex for a long time, or if you start to notice any eye-related symptoms, it's a really good idea to go get checked out by an eye doctor. It's just a powerful reminder to stay on top of things, even with a product you can just buy at the store.
Okay, we have definitely covered a ton of ground here. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? What do you really need to remember?
Let's boil it down to a simple action plan. First, just remember Nasonex is now super affordable and easy to find. Second, choose where you buy it based on what you need. Online is great for planning, but in-store is perfect for immediate needs and advice. Third, know that you have other great options like Flonase and Nasacort to consider. And finally, always use it correctly to get the most relief with the fewest side effects.
So at the end of the day, while this explainer gives you all the tools you need to shop smart, you have to remember that your health is unique to you. The absolute best first step is always to have a chat with your doctor or your pharmacist to come up with the perfect allergy plan for you.